Well, our start to the season, our second one in the Premier League as Southend United, has been a little bit disjointed and overshadowed by both injuries and a lack of team cohesion. We're yet to pick up a Premier League point, one of just two teams to do so, and after facing fellow slow starters Manchester United today, we've then got a transfer deadline day that might be busier than I first planned. Yes, hello and welcome along to part 56 of Saving Southend with me, Daniel. We are back today for another big game as we go away to Old Trafford to face Manchester United. They've not had the best of starts, but it's much better than ours as we sit second bottom with 0 points from 3 games. We knew this was a risk because we saw on paper the start to the season was tricky, and I wanted to show you that so you could see some suffering. But next month is going to be huge and I need to have a squad ready to compete. So if you're looking forward to seeing what we do today, as deadline day is round the corner, and we might just have one or two more bits of wheeling and dealing to do, then please do put a thumbs up on it. You can see Mabama, Sam Ammo, Teddy Ivanov all out injured for this one. And it's been a bit of a struggling start, to be honest. Just one narrow win in the cup to show for our efforts. We're going to start by having a quick look at the performances and the results, because we yet to score a Premier League goal. Ivanov made one sub appearance before getting injured again. Mabama's out again. Hugill started poorly. We're not looking good in attacking areas. We lost 2-0 at Brighton, which you saw on camera, despite a pretty decent performance. We followed it up with a 3-0 defeat at Tottenham in a game where we were battered first half but went in level, then threw it away from set pieces in the second. Same at home to Liverpool, not a great performance, but were level at the break, then trailed in the second half. But then at home to Fulham in the Carabao Cup, we did get a 2-1 victory. Bashir Humphreys with the eventual winner after Martin Cox had opened the scoring on his return from injury just 3 minutes in. Mabama got injured in that one. Jayden Danns was playing up front basically, and he was alongside one of the summer midfield signings. That's how desperate it got. So I'm looking ahead to transfer deadline day and thinking maybe we're going to have to get one more in those attacking areas. But since you were last with me, we have done a little bit of work, not in terms of ins and outs that are active, because the last deal was Dan Rose on the 3rd of August, but in terms of what might be happening at the club. We have been trying to offload Jayden Danns, though I am backing off from that a little bit, given what's been happening in recent weeks, particularly on the injury front up front. However, we've got two options to bring in. The first of which we're trying to get is Rashid Idowu from Everton. He is a good young striker who's on the loan list, and although we've not got a full report on him yet, we are trying to scout him before we bring him in. I'm looking at his England 21s record, I'm looking at his lower league record out on loan, and I'm thinking, yeah, he might be that little spark we need. He's 6'1", must be decent enough in the air, seems to be good on the floor. I just feel like we've got to take a gamble at this point. And I mentioned that we might bring in another experienced player because it's been a lot of youth coming in this summer. And Pablo Fornals might be that man on the move in real life and maybe on the move here. We're scouting him. We've put an offer in. He's 34. But if I remember rightly, he's a model citizen. So on a 1-year deal, that could be a very clever one. So there's a potential teaser for what might happen on deadline day. You've probably already seen we've got Plymouth away in the third round of the Cup, which on paper is a bit more friendly. But then you look at the run of 5 games after, and in fact, the run of 2-3 months after it, and it becomes absolutely huge. We've had that block of 4 at the start. We've then got a real bunch of winnable games. And then we get to December. We play Chelsea, Arsenal, Everton, City back to back, which becomes very difficult. So I'm not sure what to expect from this one. You can see West Ham have finally made it back to the Premier League. But for now, the focus is United away. Saturday night with the evening kickoff. Let's see who we can get out because they're playing 4-2-3-1. Very tempted to go to the back three because even if you look at the midweek team, we rested a few, but we're getting light in certain areas. So I'm going to make some adjustments here, decide what tactic to go for, and we'll be back in a minute to run through our 11 for this one. Right then, here is our team for today, and I've decided on the more cautious approach of the back three. We've gone for what I can do in defence, but I'm also using this game as a chance to build fitness for a couple, with the plan that people will be as close to match fit when we get to the big league game next weekend, after a bit of cup action as well. So Reece Williams comes in at centre half for his first performance of the season. It's going to be his first minutes competitively at all. We've also got Martin Cox on the bench. He'll get another half an hour. We've got Jayden Danns on the bench, who is the only fit striker. Ivanov, I'm not risking for this one. And then Morehouse Lejnik, who's got a very heavy match load. And Carl Alsop, the others to miss out. It means the squad we've gone for in full today is Caljo in goal, Williams at centre half, Reece and Amir that is, alongside Harrison Parker who splits them, Adeniji and Ishmael the wingbacks with Smith and Jimenez in midfield, and then Katazuka comes in on the right with Fernandez over on the left, and up front is Joe Hugill. If either of those could score a goal at some point, would be very much appreciated. Our starting 11 today has a combined 0 goals this season, and considering in pre-season we were scoring and conceding galore, I'm not sure whether I should be worried or not yet. Let's go and get into this one and see what the outcome is. We're expecting it to be a United win, but the last game against Liverpool we were more competitive, and that's what I want to see today. The teams are warming up as it's 3 changes for the hosts. They probably didn't have a League Cup game in midweek because they've got the 3rd round bye, I would expect. Rashford and Højlund up front, the originals. Lisandro Martinez still in there. They've signed Gusto from Chelsea, plenty of other stars in too, and the likes of Garnacho still there on the bench. So this is not going to be easy. Let's tell the lads there's no pressure. Let's keep them calm. Let's keep them relaxed. We've got to keep morale up because we're going to need to win in a week or two's time. And at the moment, while we've got these games that are a little bit frustrating on paper, where we are the underdogs back to back to back, we've got to find a way to keep spirits up. And at the moment, that's the hardest bit. I'm not expecting a result at all here, but I do want this to be competitive as Jimenez Nixon in midfield, already improving massively in training, but his passing range, it's not quite up there with Santos last season, is it? As Kobel plays out to Birchall. A few very good young players in this United team. As Gusto goes wide to Gamara, and Ishmael does well with it, finds Williams at the back. His chip away is diabolical, and it's straight to the United player. Out to the left to Rashford with Adeniji chasing. Man on the edge is Nico. Jimenez brings him down. And we're in one of those spells at the minute. We've mentioned it 3 or 4 times this year across both saves. We just seem to have a spell where there's penalties in every game for ages, and then it goes quiet for 5 or 6 weeks. This time, Anthony Taylor's given one against Jimenez. No booking, but it is a penalty kick. Is it Rashford by the looks of it? Right-footed against Caljo. He wanted to be an instant hero. He's not going to be here. 12 minutes it's taken United to go ahead. We're 1-0 down at Old Trafford. And will the door open now? Because the floodgates have very much appeared at times this year. Well, corner kick for United. 20 gone. This is something that we've really struggled with the start of this season. And I cannot put my finger on it. Rasmus Højlund wins the header at the near post. I've even adjusted the set pieces tactically to put an extra zonal marker on the real near post area. Put a defender on the near post as well. And it's just not happening for us. We keep losing headers there. We let in 2, 3, 4 across the season already. 1 in each game at least. And Hugo gives the ball to Fernandez, who's lost it again. I mean, we look awful. I really hope it's as I said in the summer, because we took the gamble and I've been pretty relaxed so far. I've acknowledged we've had 4 very tough games to start. I've talked about the fact that we were taking this gamble and hoping that by October, November, everyone would settle in and we'd be all right. You look at this team today and, there's only 3 new players in there, aren't there? And it looks like there's a whole lot more. As Park heads away to Fernandez, can we at least get a shot away? It doesn't look like it. It's 27 on the clock. It is all United. And Malo Gusto has got an advanced throw again. Plays a 1-2. Back inside to Nico. He looks into the box to Vermeeren. Into Rashford, completely unmarked. Is it the back 3? Is it just us all over the shop? Parker and Jimenez just inconsolable basically at this point. Hugo has been appalling. I've got to get that striker in and hope he's better. It's the only way around it now because Ivanov was the big marquee signing. He's not touched the ball yet. Martin Cox in the league has not touched the ball yet. Look, they were the 2 biggest summer signings. We've got to be patient. But it is a problem for us at this stage. We're 5 to the break. We've had a shot at last. But this is one-way traffic. It is not ideal. At half-time, I think I'm going to go 4-4-2. I don't really see how it gets much worse here. I'm going to say, what's going on? It's one of the worst I've ever seen. Going to go back to the original tactic, and what are we going to do? Harrison Parker is going to stay on, as will Reece Williams to build his fitness. It'll be Emir who's sacrificed. We're going to go for the front two as such. We're going to stick with the rest of the midfield. And it'll be Williams off for young Robbie Allen. The boy from Derry is on in a 4-4-2. We'll give it another 20 minutes, and then I think we'll make a whole host of changes because, yes, United have been clinical, but this has been men v boys. It's the old cliche, isn't it? Well, we get to the hour mark, thankfully, without any further damage, but the Japanese youngster has been booked out wide. Neither of them have really got going yet, so we're going to bring Volsky on for him. Left back, we won't really take a risk either. Going to bring on Josh Brookin for Cameron Ishmael, or am I? No, that's not the best use of a sub. We're going to bring on Humphreys for Williams, who, again, we want to protect physically. Joaquin Jimenez, we've struggled with a bit, so it'll be Martin Cox on for him. And then I might make the final one in midfield as well. But Joe Hugill, look at him physically. We've got to look after him. I'm going to bring on the youngster Jaigel up front. He's a 21-year-old, but he's got real ability running in behind. He's not the worst in the air for his height. He's 5'11", but he's got a good jumping reach. I think we're going to stick with it like that because at this point it's about getting people Premier League minutes. It's about preparing for later in the year. This is the last of the 3 hit games and we've completely screwed it up. But my hope is, as United go down to 10, which should limit any further damage, is that we're going to be able to respond in the next few weeks. We've just, I feel, got to get those 2 players up to speed. We can get those 2 up there. If maybe this target man is better than Hugill, because Mabama was going to be the first choice, then I think we're ready to go. But for now, a 3-0 defeat at Old Trafford is going to be, it's been a poor performance. It's been dominant from the host, but this was the 4-game start we feared. Now we've got an opportunity, and it's going to be 4-0 as well, because Højlund puts it in. And even with 10, United have done us from a set piece. I don't know what it is with the near post corners and the set pieces there this year. It's been a real problem for us, but with 5 minutes of stoppage time gone, United win 4-0. It is 10 conceded, none scored for us this season. I don't know why I listened to the underdogs chat as well. I've gone with the assistant, which was stupid. But at least we've got that out of the way. If we can get a couple of good additions on deadline day, we've then got 3 months of winnable fixtures, and that's where it's really going to count. So let's get through the final press conference after a disastrous August here with Southend United. Stamford Bridge not giving us home comforts. On the road, we can't be blaming that. But for now, deadline day is round the corner. We'll be back with that and then to plan when we're going to return. Well, it's transfer deadline day in the Premier League and we know what deals we're trying to do already, but we've got to add something into the squad here. We've had a massive overhaul this summer. We've got gaps to fill because of injury. And I just feel we need a little experience as well. So hopefully we'll get the deals we wanted done. There might be 1 or 2 outs. We have had interest in a couple of our players. And Jayden Danns is the one that I'm probably most looking to get out. A few clubs want him on loan. We'll see what they can produce. But for now, it looks like it's going to be a busy 15 hours. We're linked with another striker from Al Ahly, but we're not going to bring him in. It's a very similar type, but can't finish as well. We were linked with another one from Uruguay, who was a bit more of a playmaker type, but that didn't come out either. So it will probably be just Idowu and or Fornals. And then it's whether we get offers for anyone else, because City apparently sniffing around our backup keepers. So we'll take part in that. We'll look ahead with excitement to the rest of the day. And hopefully we can start to pick up our form against slightly easier opposition. Jayden Danns, the man we're going to offer out. We'll see if there's any bids as the day goes on. Well, a few hours in and we've got some offers for players we've offered out on loan. We'll see what happens with them. You can see there's one for Jayden Danns as well. But this is the star that got away this summer. Alfredo Diaz, who rejected 30 grand a week from us, has gone to Porto for 8. But then I guess Portuguese clubs do bring through talent. He is a proper striker. Maybe more of a number 10 to be fair, because he's not the best finisher in the world, but he's got those attributes to be a superstar and would have been an absolute steal at the price we wanted him for. Port Vale have come in for Richardson. That offer has been accepted. He's one of our young midfielders to go out on loan. Offers in for Nicky Morgan are not good. For some reason, it only seems to work this year. If you go through to the loan list and actually just read these playing wages and the agreed playing time, then you seem to get offers that are appropriate. Same problem with Okoye. I'm not as worried about those two because they'll probably go to non-league clubs rather than EFL ones. And that means that we've got the luxury of doing it after today. The big offer though is Jayden Danns. What have we got for him? Now, no fee being offered by Millwall, but they are going to cover all of his wages. So with Fernandez staying on loan for another year, and the fact that we'll be able to maybe bring him back next season, I'm just going to add in that he can be recalled. Wow, I've put that in and I've changed it back to 50%. You have got to be kidding me. I'll take it out and let him do that. And we've even got a bit of an unused fee out of it. That is bonkers, just for the option to recall in January. But either way, 11 hours to go. It does look like Jayden Danns is going. Fornals has accepted and we're awaiting a work permit. But no news on a centre forward from Everton. But at the moment, might be the most important one. And as you can see, we're going to be signing him half blind. Well, we've got the offer now as we miss out on another target. Cody Drame, someone we looked at in the summer as a potential option instead of Brookin at right back. He'll now be off the shortlist as he'll be too old to sign next time. But just looking at the agent offers here, and there is a right back from Celtic for 4 million who's got an A scout report. He's not very good defensively. He seems to be better going forward. So maybe that's not quite the one for us. And it's probably not the time to make a quick investment. We'll keep an eye on him for the future. There's no doubt about that. The big news, though, as we move into the afternoon, is that Rashid Adowu has agreed a loan deal. We still don't know enough about him at the minute, but the basic gist of it is it's going to cost about the same as Dan's because he's 12 grand a week wage contribution. He wants to be a target forward. He wants to be an important player. The optional fee is extortionate, but you know will never be paid. So let's just get him in. It's a slightly blind gamble. It might go wrong. But with the options at the minute, Hugo struggling and having injuries in the past, Mbama's out medium to long term. We know Jayden Danns is going. We've got to gamble. Adowu is coming in, and if he's rubbish, we might be straight back in the market again. Well, on paper, there's some positive news here because Rashid Adowu is 3-star ability and 4.5 potential. Joe Hugill is going to welcome him to the club. He's probably going to take your position, mate, as well. Squad registration, we can chuck him in. He'll be our 23rd, so space for another one even after Fornals if we get him in. But let's see how good he is. The report suggests that he's better than all the target men we've got. Lack of determination. Not the best player. He's rated as championship level. Please be good. Oh, he's not bad. He's not bad at all, and he's actually a slightly different player to what I was expecting. He's one who can play in midfield, who's got that sort of deft touch on the ball. But he is a good finisher. He is good in the air. He's got great movement, great vision, great technique. He's a proper centre forward, to be fair to him. Maybe not so much a natural target man, but that is where he's going to play for us. But if he offers us a little bit more on the floor as well, I don't think we'll have any complaints at all. A good player, a good youth international. We can see why he scored goals before. Got one in the Carabao Cup this year already. And I think a blind signing that might pay off. He could be a little step up for us there. We might even change the duties and the roles if it's appropriate. Mbama is a bit unhappy about his arrival. We're not going to worry about that. I'm not signing him to play your position. But you just get back from your broken foot. You've got 3 months out. I think you need to be worrying about that. Richardson is off to Port Vale. So actually, with the Danns deal as well, we've made back the whole wage for Adowu. He's going with 1.1 grand a week paid. Model citizen off to Port Vale. Hopefully he'll get football in League 2. Nathan Jones not in charge there anymore, incidentally. And 10 hours to go. One more signing to come in, hopefully. Will the Fornals deal get done? And will Jayden Danns be leaving? Back in a moment to find out. Well, our first answer has followed almost immediately because Pablo Fornals, the 34-year-old veteran attacking midfielder, has agreed to deal to come in. Now, I'm a little bit reluctant in a way because we are very overloaded with centre midfielders. But given the fact Sam Ammo's going to be out a while and we don't have a lot of backup on the left, I'm kind of going to use him as an extra option out there. We know the importance of having that experienced player like a Solly March, like a Ruben Loftus-Cheek. And I feel this man is going to be absolutely crucial. Played over 300 league games in England, has been at Everton 7 years here in this save. Had been at Leicester prior as well. And bar one loan spell, has been in the Premier League the whole time. I know he's past his prime. He's not going to play a huge amount, even though I've put him as an important player. And a bit like the other two I mentioned before, he's only got a 1-year deal, so there's no future ties, there's no risk of big wages for old players when we go down. He's here for the year and then he's off. It's Pablo Fornals that's coming in. Let's hope he's still got his brilliant personality and that Jayden Danns goes to relieve some of the wage bill. Well, I did say he's not going to play much, didn't I? I might have to reflect on that in a minute. Maybe I'm looking at Fornals and I'm looking at the guy we just bought in who was going to be the target man. Given the fact that all our other good strikers are advanced forward, do we even consider moving to a 4-4-1-1? Because Fornals and a new lone striker are both brilliant number 10 options, which we've never had before. I'm looking at Fornals at 3.5-star ability and thinking, well, there might be worse ideas than trying that as a tactic if things don't go right in the next few games. Jack Morehouse is going to welcome him. Let's have a look at how good he is, because he's the best rated number 10 at the club. He is one of the best rated midfielders at the club. And he's definitely the joint best left midfielder at the club too. He's a true model citizen and he's a consistent performer. And he's still rated as Premier League level. I mean, he's basically the exact type of player we were looking for. He's going to lead the mentoring groups. He's got really good attributes. And while he's probably not good enough physically to play games regularly, certainly more than once a week, I feel like he's going to be our little gem of this year. I'm really pleased with that addition, actually. We're going to work to get him fit. We'll try and get him off the bench in a cup in the week. That one could be a lifesaver. We'll be back in a minute to see if Jayden Danns goes. We've got a scout potentially on the way from Turkey as well, as we expand our scouting network yet further. And maybe there'll be one more surprise out in terms of loans or something. We'll be back in a minute to see. Well, just 2 p.m, but we might be able to go to bed already this deadline day because Jayden Danns has agreed a deal with Millwall. He will go there to the Championship side where they will pay 10 grand a week, his full wage, and that brings back a little bit of what we've put out today. I mean, financially, we're still in great nick. We've got over 40 million in the bank. We've got the stadium development for next year, which we can get really excited about. We've still got plenty of the wage bill remaining, about 140 grand, and still loads of transfer budget, because despite spending an awful lot this summer, we've been able to bring back and recoup a lot of money, particularly with the deal for Santos, and then all those bonus bits for Kwanzaa, for Parks, for Presley, for Goodrum, for Dan Rose. We've actually bought in not far off what we've spent. But overall, it's been a huge overturn this summer. We're talking about, what's that? 9 players at that level there? That's huge in itself. There were more at the end of last year as well. We've brought in 13 senior players to the squad. We've basically replaced over half the registered squad. Mabama made his debut as well. That's 14. And then Fernandez has stayed on another loan. So there's actually not a huge amount of last season's squad that's in and around the first 11 or the matchday squad. And that's going to have that effect on dynamics. It's the lowest team cohesion we've had in a long time. I'm trying to get all those team bonding sessions and all of the community outreach stuff. I think we just have to bear in mind this is going to take a couple of months. And hopefully, once it does, we'll really hit form. Let's see if anything else happens today. But if not, I'm pretty happy with the business that's been done. Well, we have finally had some suitable offers for our best homegrown players, and Nicky Morgan is going out on loan to Southend United. They were in League 2 last year and they still are now. So Morgan will get a chance in the EFL, where he did pretty well last season, didn't he? Got 13 in 34 and hopefully he'll develop again. No offers for a couple of others that I've tried to get in. The squad unhappy about our management and the poor dressing room atmosphere. I mean, come on, they've got to put a bit of effort in here. We've lost 4 games in a league and against top opposition, and they're already throwing their toys out the pram. And it is a lot of the fringe players, to be fair. Maybe something I've got to think about for the future. Might regret giving PJ Smith that captaincy too. The commercial income is the one message that has been really positive today, because while we're still bottom, we're definitely starting to catch up the teams above. We're a little bit closer to Norwich and Bournemouth. We've had a couple of big sponsorship deals over the summer in addition to what we already had. So I feel that things are going in the right direction. And with Steve Tilson Park going up to over 20,000 capacity next year, with the facilities improving too. Look, there's more to be positive about than negative, but I can't have the boys throwing their toys out the pram. Well, here is the closure of the transfer window, and by my standards, for those of you that have followed for years, you'll know how big an overhaul this is by my standards. It was partly enforced because of the contractual situation of a lot, because a lot of those old legends wanted to move on. And while we are going to have to rebuild the spirit and rebuild the atmosphere in the club, as well as the cohesion on the pitch, in the long term, we're going to be much better for it as long as we can survive this season. Our biggest fee this summer in transfers in or out was still for Andre Santos, who we sold. He's gone for 18.25 to Atalanta. Our biggest signing, Teddy Ivanov for 14, we've basically yet to see due to injury. On deadline day, both Fornals and Idowu came in, and of course Jayden Danns moved out of the club temporarily. The wage expenditure is still a third of the next team above, but it is significantly lower, and I think you need to put in perspective as well. We're not a million miles away from our wage budget now. It's not like last year where we were using about a third of it. So this time around, we are definitely seeing that Southend are just a much smaller club. But hopefully we can find 3 that we can outperform again. And hopefully we can pick up results against teams like Norwich next time out. Because after the disastrous start, after playing 4 of the top 9 when it comes to the wage expenditure, we've got to find a way to bounce back. We've had the most players in and the most players out. That graphic there is the perfect explanation for a slow start right off the bat. 13 in, 30 out, including youth loans, of course. That is the reason it's going to take a while for some of these to bed in. But let's get through to the schedule and see when we're going to be back, because we have now got that run of friendlier fixtures coming up. I would expect a few wins in there, but if we don't beat Plymouth in the Carabao Cup tonight, confidence is going to be a problem. As you've seen in the league games, we are getting just over 20,000 at Stamford Bridge. So it is a slight improvement in attendances and probably in the area of what we're going to get next year back at our new stadium with a high 21,000 capacity. I think we're going to come back either for the first 2 games in November against Newcastle and Spurs, who are probably the only 2 top half teams we've got between now and the end of November. If not, if we can get through it all, or if we're in mixed form, we'll come back at the start of December for Chelsea and Arsenal at the start of that horrific run. But either way, that's what we're going to be back for. 2 big teams, 2 big games, and plenty of fun in this Premier League season. 4 games in, none for, 10 against. It's not looking good. But will this new squad gel as quickly as I'm hoping? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Do you think we'll get it right? Do you think we'll stop the dressing room revolt? Or are the dynamics bound to catch up with us this year? Is second season syndrome on the way? Have I done too much at once with this squad? I'll be interested to get your thoughts. If you enjoyed it, a humbling by United and a very busy transfer window, then please do put a thumbs up on it. Subscribe and turn that notification bell on to stay up to date with everything. We've got a thrilling climax to our head coach season tomorrow, which you can find the playlist of up in the eye above. And of course, you can keep up to date with this one, which will return in 2 days' time. The guides, the experiments, our fun little video from Sunday, and much more up there as well. You can also follow me on the Twitch channel and the football podcast for plenty more content. But thank you very much for being here for an interesting start to the season. Let's hope it gets a little better on the pitch. I'll see you next time to find out.